Volatility halts. This has been a theme that's been running for quite some time right now. We have limit up and limit down halts happening pretty much every day. Today I'm going to talk about what they are, why they happen, and more importantly, how to actually trade them. Hey everyone, lead trainer with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen. Welcome back. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share these videos with your friends, and definitely check out the Steady Trade team if you're looking to take your trading to the next level. I do 2 webinars every single day breaking down all these concepts. You know, if you're in a halted stock, it can be scary and you don't know what to do. The great thing about the Steady Trade team is I'm there every day, live twice a day. Plus, I'm in chat answering questions all day long. So if you're stuck in a halt, wondering what to do, I'm there to answer your question and help you out. So check out the Steady Trade team. All right, that being said, you know, we've always had volatility halts. Well, actually, the rule was started, I believe, in 2013. So, you know, going back 7-8 years now. So basically, for a lot of you, if you're newer traders, volatility halts have been around since you got started, unless you got started 15 years ago, like my gray-haired old man did. But anyway, it's something we've had to deal with, and increasingly in 2020. I mean, you hear me talk about it in all these videos about we love the volatility, we love the volatility, we love it. Drawback is we see these halts and they can be very frustrating. They can ruin plays. They can scare you. They can make you make bad decisions. So I'm going to tell you how to get around some of that stuff and manage these. Now, one thing I do want to make a point to let you know is I'm going to be talking a lot about this page. You'll see the link above, and we'll drop it in the show notes as well. NASDAQtrader.com/trader.aspx !ID equals trade halts. Great URL, NASDAQ. Thank you. Now, we'll link it below, but then you can also just Google NASDAQ halts. And every time I've Googled it, this page is the top match. So, a couple things to talk about. We're not going to be talking about, you know, halted news pending, halted, you know, for a lot of that stuff, because those can't be predicted, okay? You don't know that it's coming, you know, especially with like a news pending. You don't know that there's going to be a T1 halt because you don't know that there's news coming. I mean, if you knew that, that'd be basically, and you were trading on it, that would be insider trading. So we're not talking about non-compliant stocks. We're not talking about news pending. You know, we're not talking about H11's regulatory concerns, corporate actions. Okay, these are things that can happen, but you can't necessarily see them coming without some sort of insider information. Today, we're going to be talking about volatility halts, the LUDPs, etc. So volatility halts to the upside and to the downside. Now, again, if you want to know all these other halt reasons, you can go to this trading halts link, and then you can go to the codes, and then it breaks them all down. You can see there's 30 or 40 trade halt criteria, but they're outside of the volatility halts. Today we're talking volatility halts. So that being said, let's break it down. So on April 11, 2011, National Security Exchanges and the FINRA filed a proposal to establish a limit up, limit down rule that would go in effect in 2013 on forward into today. And this is, again, I'm going to read you the fact. I'm skim it quickly. I would highly recommend reading this for a further instruction. I mean, I'm not here to read a PDF to you. You can read it as well. I just want to point out the points that I get asked about them as much. So you can see it's only effective during the market day. Okay, that is something a lot of people don't realize. Volatility halts will not happen in pre-market or after hours. That might be one of the biggest tips that a lot of people misunderstand, because we see these big movers in pre-market and then they open, you know, the market opens and they immediately halt. And I get asked that question, well, why didn't it halt in pre-market? Well, there are no volatility halts in pre-market or after hours. So keep that in mind. So that's something, you hear me talk about the 945 rule a ton. When you've got these wild movers, one of the things I like about that 945 rule is a lot of these stocks, they halt right out of the gate. 1 minute in, 2 minute in. Nice thing about the 945 rule is it can kind of keep you out of some of that. So that's point number one I wanted to make. And then next is the statistics. I would, again, I'm going to quickly skim this, but I would be familiar with these. You can just see that it varies based on the previous close and the percent gain move, so you can see it varies whether it's greater than $1, less than 75 cents, etc. And then it gives you the exact criteria on the price band, 5, 10, 20%, or even, the lesser of 15 cents or 75%. And then note band percentages doubled during these times. So there's all these criteria, and this table might be the most important part. And again, print this. It's a free PDF. Refer to it. Study it. I'm not going to spend 20 minutes going over all this. So next thing is what happens when the stocks actually halt. You can see the time limits, how long they halt, how long it takes to reopen. Now remember, these criteria reset every time the stock halts, because a lot of these stocks will halt multiple times, and what happens, etc. What's the maximum allowable pause time? 10 minutes. That's something good to know. Listen, if you're stuck in a halt, it's the worst. It's the worst being stuck in a halt, but at least you got 10 minutes to go get a cup of coffee and come back and react when the stock reopens. So those are the biggest things. I'm not going to spend that much time talking about something that you can read. Now, let's get to the meat, baby. Okay, let's talk about how to manage these trades, what to do when you're stuck in a halt, how to avoid them, etc. So, number one, right off the bat, as I already mentioned, the number one way to avoid getting stuck in a volatility halt is to wait till after 9:45. Now, I want to be clear. Stocks can halt all day long, okay? That rule isn't going to keep you out of every volatility halt. But if you've been watching the markets every day along with me, especially in the pre-market prep, you can check that out. I'm live every day on social media, 8:30. You should check that out. We're talking about these halts every day. But you'll know that the majority of them happen on these low float, high volatile stocks right at the beginning of the day. So if you wait, odds are, not always, but odds are if stock's going to halt, it's going to halt that first few minutes of the day, and then you can either take it off your watch list or wait till afternoon. And that's the best strategy I can tell you is once, I call them halters, okay? And this is something I'll talk about in Steady Trade Pro webinars all the time. We'll be watching the stock, and it might be our top watch, but once it starts halting, we typically take it off the list until afternoon, because you'll see multiple halts up and down, because remember, the rules apply to the upside as well as the downside. So it doesn't really matter if you're long or short. If you get stuck in these halts, it can be frustrating. You can lose money. You can get slippage. You can panic. It's just not a good thing. So the best thing is wait for that midday area and let the stock kind of quote unquote calm down, and then look to attack later in the day. Second thing, and this might be a unpopular opinion. It'd probably be an unpopular opinion if you've never been in a halt. If you have been in a halt, you might like this opinion. One of the best ways to avoid these things is you don't have to trade these $1 low float stocks that go wild every day. Right now we have so many higher priced, quote unquote, real stocks that are moving 10, 20% a day. You don't necessarily have to trade these $1 stocks that are going to 9. Now, obviously, you're like, well, Tim, why would I want to trade that? It went from 1 to 9. Well, if it halts to the upside and downside all the time, it's so hard to stay in those trades. You'll get stopped out, then it works. You take a big loss, then it works. It's annoying. So second thing is you don't have to trade these crazy volatile stocks, especially day one. That's the great thing. Most time the volatility halts are normally going to happen the first day of the move. Second, third day, Not as likely because they won't make as big or as wild of the moves. So focus on day 2, day 3 if you like these low price stocks. Okay. Then, at the end of the day, what happens if I'm in a halt? And that's the number one question I get. And it's a good question. And I have an answer for you. And it might be yet another unpopular answer, but I tell you, over 15 years, it's just proven to me, proven talking to other traders. I mean, I talk to so many traders out there every day that I think this is one of the best things you can do. And if you're in that halt, okay, what do we do? What do we do now? Okay, I'm stuck in a halt, and all these rules, all this concepts applies if you're long or short. Okay, if you're green or red on the trade. Okay, you could be on this rule applies. Say you bought at $1 and it ripped to 2 and volatility halted and you're green, or you shorted it and you're red, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. The best thing you can do if you're stuck in a volatility halt is exit as fast as possible when the stock unhalts. Now, that does not mean use a market order. Do not use a market order. Use a limit order, but adjust your pricing to get out of that stock as quick as possible once it unhalts. If you're short, get out to the upside. If you're long, get out to the downside. If you're green, take those profits and move on. Because what you'll see over and over again is, say that stock halts to the upside. If it gaps up, it'll almost immediately slam back. And if it gaps down, it'll almost immediately slam back the upside. So you'll see these wild moves that you don't know. I mean, it's just a crapshoot which way it's going to go. So that is the best thing I can tell you. And listen, that rule, it might get you out and then the trade works. And that can be doubly frustrating. But you know what can be quintuply frustrating? or 10 times more frustrating? Is stuck in a halt, unhalts, you wait a few minutes, and then get destroyed. Okay? It's annoying. It's annoying to get out, to follow this rule, and maybe you take some small win or some small loss, and then the trade works. But I'm telling you, I've seen it enough times, seen enough newer traders that they get patient with these things, and they get wrecked, long or short. So, that being said, please be careful with these halt stocks. Remember all these rules. Afternoon, don't trade them. Wait till the second or the third day. And most importantly, if you're trapped in a halt, move on as quickly as possible. So let me know in the comments. Have you ever been stuck in a halt? It's one of those, it's funny because I work with a lot of traders, mentoring, and I talk to a lot of traders. It's weird because you can't really put it to words how it feels. And I tell somebody, because so many newer traders like, oh, I'm not worried about halts. And I'm like, wait till the first time you're in one. Then you'll change your opinion. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you've never been in a car wreck, you're like, oh, car wrecks aren't a big deal. And then you get in a car wreck and you're like, whoa, that was a big deal. So anyway, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever been trapped in a halt, and how bad was it? It's been bad for me, man. I avoid them. I mean, I've had some work, but I avoid them like the plague as much as possible. So, all right, everyone, thank you. Be sure to check out the StocksToTrade team. And like I said, share these videos. Check out the archive. We've got hundreds, going on probably thousands of videos now, talking about all of these concepts, podcasts, ton of great information. And like I said, I go live every morning at 8:30 Eastern on our YouTube, on our Facebook, on our Instagram, on our Twitter. I'm everywhere, 8:30 Eastern every day. Check it out. Check out the StocksToTrade team, and I look forward to working with you.